deer diarrhea full of shit. Just flailing me, myself and I, no one else here, you know, so legit. Trying to keep this short and sweet. Got my EPU running full blast for now because I'm just starting my brake. In the middle of the night, I usually have to turn it up from 60 to 65 and turn the fan down from 3 to 1 and sometimes even point it away from me. There's my little what have you. That's different from the Walmart cabinets I used to show for those who have been a fan for a minute or two. That doesn't really close all the way, but that's fine. It looks brighter than it is. It looks bright as fuck in this thing, but it's actually not. Weird. But anyway, and I got a load of ice cream, so I got it running at minus 20, so it's blasting away. The other day I was munching on mushrooms and tomatoes, grape tomatoes, while driving down the road, and I kind of had one stuck in my teeth and I spat it out, and it, like the AC caught it and it flew up in the air and stuck to the door. It's still there. I say that so you know that I'm eating my vegetables like a good boy. Got my weights and whatnot. Hey, haven't done any walking or nothing like that. You know, just fast walking, you know, jogging, whatever, wherever. Because I'm kind of still falling into the routine of things. I pretty much do like I did with Walmart, you know. Well, it's not the same because I'd go to stores and do this shit and whatnot. But now I just stop, you know, every hour or two. You know, because I drink a lot. You know, water, you know, while I'm driving down the road. And I'm still getting my system worked out, you know, as far as, you know, water. And it's cheap to buy it at the store. And the thing is, they sell it in like big cases, and then I can put the bottles in the fridge so they're, you know, cold. I kind of like that. Because ice isn't really a feasible thing to try and maintain in a truck. I mean, yes, every day I could stop and buy a bag of ice, and fucking I could get a cooler, you know, and plug it in, you know, and all that, be it the mobile plug or the inverter plug, you know. I've got options. I'm still kind of working it out, you know. So, and I'm doing this stuff, you know, having the guy come out. I decided it's more than just putting in material because it's so sandy. I just end up wasting time and money. So I'm going to have the guy come out, you know, and he's going to come out at the beginning of next week and put down a mat, put down some road base on top of that, and that should be good. And then if I want to cap a thin layer with recycled asphalt, and I'm just going to have him do it. That way it's done. I'm going to do the culvert. I'll go measure it by the pipe. I told my neighbor, you know, I'm like, this is what I'm doing. He offered to help. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, but, you know, I'll just use my dad and his tractor and whatnot. And it'll take, you know, half a day, you know. Well, things always take a little longer, or a little more difficult, a little harder, and a little more expensive than you anticipate. So, but, and that way, no matter what the weather's doing, rain, snow, or shine, I'll be able to keep that, you know, tractor on the good road. The ditch is a little bit kind of deep where I don't want to be dipping through it all the time, so I'm gonna have to widen the culvert. I'll tell the main guy, you know, who kind of owns that easement, you know, just to do things right and whatever. So yeah, I could do it myself if I knuckle down, but that way it's just done when I get back. You know what I mean? Not too terribly expensive. It's under $10,000. We'll just say that. And I figured that's right around where it would be, you know. So, anyway, and then I'll do the culvert. And I probably could have got away with, putting down some, like, 1.5-inch rock, and kind of doing it the cheaper route, and taking 2 days, of getting up at like 7 o'clock in the morning and working till 4 or 5 o'clock, putting in a full fucking day for like 2 days. Yes, I could have done that like a macho manly boy, but I'm just gonna have this guy do it, and then when I get home it'll just be there. And I'll drive up and I'll back that bitch down in there. I'll just have an official parking spot for my tractor trailer that I'll handle not only when it's empty, but loaded. Because out the way it's set up now with, like, the inclines and the sand, that place is not set. Even trying to maneuver around, where the recycled asphalt is like shit. You turn them steer tires, it's 12,000 pounds, on them all the time, it's like, fuck, it starts digging in, and like I said, those automatics, you can't just put it, in a higher gear, or, and just let it lug. There's always a risk you break a drive line or something, but automatics, it's just like, difficulty, I quit. I remember that when I first started working for Walmart, it's like occasionally you'd have to, like, get out from under a trailer when it's slippery and snowy and shit, and it's like, fuck. That was back when let's see. Yeah, that was the automatics. But anyway, I had my system, of keeping the snow. They had fifth wheels that were air release. These are manual, where you pull them, but it's kind of the same concept. The springs and the pressure and how it's designed. So I had my system, and I'll have my system again this winter. But anyway, I just blah. So yeah, up there in Chicago, I got the full fucking Chicago experience. I delivered in Glendale Heights. It took me like 3 fucking hours to go, like 86 miles. Roads are rough, lots of traffic, construction. There wasn't really a lot of active construction or accidents. It's just fucking busy. Picked up in, like, Crown Point, Indiana or something like that, and then drove right the fuck back basically the same way I came. And then cut over and up into Wisconsin, and it delivers in Clackamas, Oregon. But yeah, pretty much all I did was, fuck around driving in Chicago. See, when I drove over there, I didn't park on site. I Google mapped it, and it looked like I could, and I could have got away with it. It looked exactly how I thought it would look when I got there. Because satellite is just an upper view. And they had basically room for like 2 trucks officially in their gate. But I could have parked out on the street and probably gotten away with it. But there was, a no parking sign out there, because 9 times out of 10 there is. So I don't remember where I parked. But anyway, I got up, drove up there. So I didn't really have to deal with rush hour traffic too bad, because it was early enough. And it was mid-morning, but it still took me 3 fucking hours. Just shithole Chicago. Then on the way back, it was rush hour, so there was several. It took like 4 fucking hours, Like I said, I don't know what you do for a living, sweet Katie Boo. But mean, and you'd have your, your routes. The thing is that Google Maps app, I don't know if I've got it set wrong or something, but it absolutely is always constantly trying to route you off route. So I think it's trying to route me around the traffic. So if I'm in a car, it starts off good. Point A, point B, I want to stay on I-94 the whole way. And as you know, there's several like meetup points where I-94 shares the same stretch of highway with I-80 and I-88, and then I-80 veers off this way and I-88 veers off that way, and you have to follow the signs to stay on the highway that you want to stay on. 94 up yonder, and then cut across, and then I-90, and blah 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 blah. But along the way, and I just used Google Maps instead of that other one, which is trucker approved, but it's free, so I've decided I am going to go with Trucker Path, because you get what you pay for. And I'd rather have just one unit instead of an actual GPS, that way I have less shit in the truck. I know where I'm going, so I was just using Google Maps, but it started out, good, like I-94, but then constantly along the way, it was like, take exit 123 for 35th Street and make a right, and it's like, the fuck? So it assumes you're in a car, and I guess you're going to go up there, and then it'll say, make a left on Main Street, and make a right on Broadway, and then make a left on Sycamore Street, and then make a left on, and it's trying to, like, get you around the traffic, I guess, which is something you would probably do if you were a local, if you lived there. But obviously, I'm in a truck, so that's not an option. It would be a disaster. You would run into something very quick. A corner that you couldn't make, or so just disaster. Just fucking disaster. And trucks need to stay on the big boy roads. Roads for cars, no good. But yeah, I don't know if you took the train or what. I know you like those airport pat downs. Do you work at the airport by chance? O'Hare? I don't know. You said you spend a lot of time outdoors. That might just mean your time off. I don't know. Outdoors, maybe take walks or something. You a renter? You live in a condo or what? It looks like you're a couple stories up. But anyway, I'll come hang out with you. We'll do the local, show me your town. Chicago's a lot bigger than Denver, though. I don't think Denver's a very big town. But, because you just walk around down there, you can do like the 15th Street Mall thing. Like I said, they have like taverns and little pubs and the Cheesecake Factories down there, but Chicago's obviously, is it all just like commerce, or does it have like, a nightlife? Anyway, but we ain't gotta worry about none of that, because I'm just a troll. I don't do that shit, just complete fucking bullshit. But now I don't have to deal with Chicago for, another 4 to 8 weeks. People who live there, it's like, what the fuck? That's why if you find you a nice wonder boy who lives there, he's a part of the city, and the city is a part of him, so you two chickens are going to be like two spurs, feeding off of each other's anxiety. Anyway, find you a nice boy who'll pluck your ass out of that city, relocate you. Sure, you'll have to make new friends, introduce you to his family, which will take to you like a duck to water. Introduce you to all their pets, and get you a different, job and a different life, and just, maybe a place like me. I live in the Rocky Mountains. It's like you spend time outdoors, dig wham, dag wham it. You like fucking pine trees and shit.
You know, the smell, the sound, and the wind in the trees, and crows. You know, crows. They're a bird, you know. They sound kind of like that. You don't get that shit, you know, in Skaggy. You know, real camping and stuff like that. So, did you find your wonder boy like that? Take your plicky ply little ass out of that fucking shithole rat's nest. I don't know how you wound up there, if you were born there or what the fuck. Fuck that shit. Like I said, you know, it'll be interesting for, like, you know, as a guest, you know, knowing good and well that, you know, yeah, I'm gonna leave this place in the rear view. You know, but anyway, yeah, I pity you, because I'd be that perfect guy, you know, but I'm just a troll. I don't do that shit. That's complete utter fucking bullshit. So. I know. Sorry, not sorry. Speaking of city life and whatnot, Kleber, hey, what's up? And your friend, Mrs. Potato Head, I saw a chick that looked like her in Albert Lee, Wisconsin the other day. This dumb, stupid idiot. She, like, nobody looks like Mrs. Butthead. Nobody, right? But, you know, she's got, I mean, you know, you've seen her. You know, she's just got that stupid, you know, just, well, kind of like Alfred E. Newman, only like the feminine version, you know? It's just, your brain can't decide. I mean, some pictures she looks kind of cute. Some pictures it's like, whoa, Jack! What the fuck is that? That is a weird looking chick. But, yeah, she was just, she got the ears. She was standing out there like, has anybody seen my husband? I think he left me. No, like he literally left me. He drove off without me. He left me here like a dog. Because that's like how she looks. Like, if you were to look at Mrs. Butthead, you would think that that's like how she would talk, you know? What's your name? You know, so. But, anyway. So it was kind of cute. You know, I was sitting there just drinking a Gatorade, a glass with ice. I filled it with Sprite. I drank that. And then I got a couple Gatorades, and I was sitting there chilling. You know, I blew a tire, you know, so, you know, good God. Rolled in, they couldn't get to me till the next day. Finally was out of there by noon. You know, they had to push the appointment back a day, the one I'm under now. But that's OTR, baby. Welcome back. It's like I never left, you know. It's like the safety guy is like, how are things going out there, you know? Is it all coming back to you? I didn't say this, but I was like, you know, I never left. This is not, you know, I'm stepping back into this just like, yeah. I mean, I did the Walmart thing for 5 years, you know, that's a different thing, you know, they just, Walmart is Walmart is Walmart is Walmart. You didn't have to worry about parking, fueling, repairs, anything. You were just out there driving on the road with other trucks, but you had nothing to do with them. It was a closed system. Now, I'm out here fucking around with all these other fucking pieces of shit. You know, and gotta, you know, welcome back, you know, but it's cool, you know. So, like I said, it's funny, I'm watching some YouTube videos right now, and there's these clips, you know, like a day in the life of a trucker, a day in the life of a mechanic, a day in the life of an airline pilot, blah, blah, blah. And it's just those little shorts where it's like the skeleton. And it's all a day in the life of a fast food worker. And it's all like at 5:45 your alarm goes off. And I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but it's all, you lay there for exactly 30 seconds thinking you could just quit and not show up. And it reminded me of that second gravel job, only instead of 5:45, it was 4:45. And instead of an 8-hour shift, it was 12 with no lunch and no breaks. But yeah, I remember I said that. Like for 3 weeks, every day, literally my alarm would go off, you know. And man, I remember the old school alarms that, God, my heart stopped every time. So at least these days, you know, we have the smartphone, so it's all, you know, you can set it up any way you want. So, but, yeah. For like 3 weeks, I thought, you know, just wait until like 7 o'clock when the boss is up and running and just say it's been real, but I ain't coming in, I'm done. Because Colorado is a, you know, at-will state, so you can quit willy-nilly, no, you don't even have to tell them, you know what I mean? Just stop showing up, and there's like no repercussion for that. But on the flip side, they can do the same with you. So, and like I said, you know, because we got no fucking breaks, you know, or lunch or anything to take care of that stuff, you know, setting up, getting my license back and all that. Mr., you know, fucking Yahoo, you know, foreman likes to come hang out. You know, it's like, how many people do you need to run a goddamn cone crusher machine? There's 4 fucking people walking around this damn thing. Why don't you take a hike, man? Go sit in your air-conditioned truck and just oversee shit. You know, so I'd have to ask, you know, because it's like, well, he's here. The boss, you know, so I gotta make some focus. So the writing was on the wall. So finally, like I said, it was a relief. I remember one day I was hoping he would come up to me and say, we don't need you to come back on Monday, but he didn't. So that following Monday, just text him, you know. But, you know, that would put me in bad standing. But then finally on Tuesday, he walked over and I knew immediately. He's like, so, like I said, I was in good standing and all that stuff. So it's like, oh, no, yeah. You know, it was like kind of, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And then I just decided to not work for 6 months. So, but anyway, you know, like I said, you know, fuck yeah, man. You know, it's like 10 o'clock, you know, I'm in the throwing clay or whatever. It's like, 8 more hours of this shit. Not necessarily that, you know, but then I'll do some shoveling and fucking, it depends on the material. This, yeah. So, anyway, 23 minutes in. Yeah, so you'll find you a nice Wonder Boy. He won't be me. He won't be anything fucking close to me. But unfortunately, I'm just a troll. I don't do that shit, and this is complete and utter fucking bullshit. So I know you want things to be real, and I'm just a talker. This is all just, you know, playland in my world. You know, go ahead and post the pillow hump this and the fucking. I approve that, and hear me out. I don't talk too good. This and the other. Just go ahead and do all that shit. It don't matter to me. I feel sorry for your ass. Because I'd be perfect for you. I really would. You know? And I'd accept you. You know? I'd get used to you. Kind of like a stray dog that shows up but you don't have the heart to shoot. You know, it's like, well, I guess I'll just adopt you. Now, I'm not talking about Mrs. Butthead or anything. You left me like a dog, you know, just whatever. No, I'd shoot that dog. No, that dog. I don't mean Mrs. Butthead. I'm just, you know, kind of paralleling that, you know. No, if a dog walked into my life that was the Mrs. Butthead version of a dog, oh, fuck yeah. But I'd put that bitch out of its misery. But, anyway. Actually, I wouldn't. Well, shit. You know, I'd make it a nice little house outside, and you'd be looking at me and shit, and I'd be like, shit. Well, fuck. So, anyway.
So I'm thinking about you.